Hello everyone, my name is Amanda Voll, and this semester I spent some time working on Arduino and Unity functionality. The hardware that I used was an Arduino and a breadboard, which is pictured in the top right here in my camera. The Arduino is on the left, it's blue and has that little LED light, and on the right here is the breadboard. It also has two buttons in it, which I'm going to be using in my demonstration. I also used a pulse sensor, which I will be hooking up to the Arduino later in the presentation for a second demonstration. Before I use the pulse sensor though, I'd like to explain a little bit about how it takes your pulse. It emits a green light which goes through the skin, and then it is either reflected or absorbed depending on how much blood is in the vein at the time. And that value is then reflected back to the photodetector, which interprets that value and then decides what the beat per minute is. So it essentially is looking for a pulse by checking how much blood is in the vein at the time, and when blood goes to the vein, it interprets that value and creates it as a pulse. So originally we weren't exactly sure where to go with this. We were kind of inspired by Jacquard, which is a clothing brand by Google. It includes a lot of embedded technologies into clothing, such as like heart rate sensors, blood oxygen sensors, that sort of thing. I personally, as a simulation and game design major, I wanted to take this more in a games direction, but it could also be useful for fitness, tracking heart rates, keeping track of workouts, how intense something is, and meditation for the opposite reason, just keeping track of how relaxing and calm something is. So this was my first project. It's pictured up in the right here as well. It is a rudimentary controller to communicate with Unity. This is the simple Arduino code behind it. Essentially, it just checks whether or not the buttons are pressed, and I'm going to upload it onto the Arduino. Then we'll come over into Unity, where I have this very, very simple scene set up just to show the functionality of it. So this cube has a C script attached to it, and what the C script is doing here in the right side is opening a serial port in order to communicate with the Arduino, and then it's checking to see whether or not the buttons are pressed, and if the button is pressed, it will move the cube to the right or to the left, depending on which button is pressed. So if I press play here, and I move over, you can see I can move it all the way back here, and then this way and that way again. So there's a lot of functionality with the controller. It is communicating with Unity and allowing me to just simply move this cube like that. So that was the first thing that we did with Unity and the Arduino. So I also, let me take these out, have a small project with the pulse sensor. So let me just put that in very quickly. 1, 2, and 3. All right. So you can tell the pulse sensor is on because that green light came on. So the important thing is now we're going to need a different sketch in order to communicate with the Arduino. It's no longer looking for buttons. It's going to be looking for the pulse sensor. The pulse sensor itself came with a library, so I took some of the code from that in order to create a beats per minute. So what it's looking for is just a beats per minute value, which it will then communicate with Unity. And I'm going to upload this to the Arduino so we know that's what it's looking for. And we'll just let it compile here. All right, and it's done uploading. So now the application of this, let me close this Unity project and open this one. Okay, so here is the project in Unity that has some heart rate sensor applications. What it is going to do is simply let the player jump. So if we look here, I'll move my camera. It's doing the same exact thing. It's opening a serial port and it's looking to read the serial port. And in here, we see right here, if our heart rate is over 100, the jump force will be 100. Just a little fun thing. If you're really excited, the jump force goes up a lot. And this one is if your heart rate is under 100, the jump force will go to 1. So there's a bit of a delay on the pulse sensor, but I'm going to put it on my finger here. And then I'm going to hit play. Actually, let's check this out. So we have a very clear example of it working. All right, and then if we just wait, and now we have a jump force of 1. She has a little mini jump, and you can see right here, the 1 was populated into that, and that's created from the pulse here being under 100 and populating the jump value. So this is just kind of a proof of concept, but this is applicable to many other things, as we talked about earlier, and just being able to apply Arduino to a variety of different applications in Unity can create a lot of opportunity for lots of different things. Going back to the original ideas, there's always games are so widely available. There's fitness games, meditation games, all sorts of stuff. So I thought this was a very interesting project and I really enjoyed working on it this semester. Thank you for your time.